So there's these frat boys is sticking their heads out of the limo, screaming USA, and there's the Mexican border, and there's a political subtext in Logan that I don't think we were expecting necessarily. Can you speak a bit about that? And especially now, I mean, obviously you shot the film a while ago, and now we have the Trump thing, but.
Well, we felt all those currents going, I felt as a screenwriter, I felt all those currents going on from the beginning. And it was interesting to me to try and put the place and center, Locust Point of the movie at a place that was kind of where it felt like the ground zero of stress and tension going on in our world right now. But it was also, because you saw the beginning of the film and the scene you're mentioning is in the first 5 minutes, it was really important to me to kind of make when you're making a movie that's a shift in tone, which Logan is a shift in tone from previous X-Men movies, it's important to kind of signal that, just like a restaurant serving an opening appetizer or whatever, to signal that to the audience, to kind of make you comfortable and help you kind of get into the vibe of the new feeling of the movie. And so one of the things that I wanted to say right away is that this is a more adult, more violent, more intense, more human or real feeling superhero movie than you've seen before.
Yeah.
And so what are the tools, the pedals on my organ I can do that with? I need to open with some act of violence that startles you and go, that was different. And I also need to kind of get you into the rhythm and the vibe of Logan's life in the world of the movie in a way that also feels provocative and different. And in some way, I feel like while there's always been a political context to the X-Men movies and a very strong one, I think that they've never kind of lived in our world. It was interesting, there's a person who saw the film recently who came up to me and said, I felt like this is the first time I ever saw a superhero movie where I could be walking down the street and I thought I might run into them.
Right.
Meaning that, and that was to me a huge compliment, because it was like, the political aspect and every other was creating an envelope where you believed it was your world.
Right.
I was seeing a reflection of my world, not some stylized world on a soundstage, not some other alternate history, but kind of these characters are living and bouncing around in my world. In fact, even Scott, with X-Men action figures and comic books kind of haunting them as they live their lives.
Right, yeah, we see, Logan sees an X-Men comic at one point in the footage we saw. What was the challenge of adapting Old Man Logan? Because obviously there's some characters that you didn't have the rights to. And how much did you look at that?
Well, I think Old Man Logan was kind of a North Star in tone more than it was a kind of literal adaptation. Because first of all, there's nothing we could do to kind of the array of characters was not available to us. But second of all, I really wanted to make the film also about family. And while I guess in Old Man Logan he's got kids, the idea of bringing Laura and making this a 3-generation story with Charles, Logan is caring for an ailing Charles, and then into his life comes this young girl. And so you now have a kind of father-son story, and you have a father-daughter story at the same time.
Absolutely. What were, in terms of bringing Laura X-23 into it, that's a popular fan favorite character. Were there any kind of expectations from Fox in terms of how to handle her? Or
none. The funny thing is their eyes were all on developing other characters and things that there was absolutely no awareness that there was any particular value. I felt like I was educating them on this character they never even knew they had.
Right.
But it was... But for me, it was not about spin-off movies. It was just about how can I see sides of Logan I haven't seen before, and what's one aspect. We have a character who spent most of his life avoiding intimate entanglements with other people, kind of submarining his own love relationships and kind of trying to avoid intimacy. And now suddenly he's saddled with an ailing father and a very needy daughter.
Yeah.
And I said, that's an interesting departure point for a movie.
Yeah, and it's really powerful stuff as well.
And will be, the parts you haven't seen, where it goes, a lot of the relationships continue to develop and get quite rich in the movie, and that's what's really exciting for me.